We normally think of consent as something that happens between people. You might have heard about using the tea metaphor to explain how to have consensual interactions. These contributions are really important and help a lot of people improve their ability to communicate their desires and limits. I remember going to several excellent workshops at non-monogamy and sexuality conferences, but always came away with the feeling that they weren't addressing something really important. In 2015, towards the end of a workshop led by Meg John Barker and Hannah Deville on handshakes and consent, I realised what it was. I'd been doing years of work on knowing what kind of handshake I wanted. Communicating with others wasn't really the problem for me. I had trouble knowing my own yes, no, or maybe to shaking hands with a particular person, or even what kind of handshake I might like. I came up with the concept of self-consent to describe that part of the process. Self-consent means attending to our own desires, limits, and boundaries. It means bringing attuned attention to the signals that our bodies are sending us with curiosity and respect, so that we can accurately interpret them. It means treating ourselves like we matter. Self-consent isn't something that only matters in interpersonal interactions either. It also matters in our interactions with food, with movement, with scheduling, with work, and all the other things that we engage in life. This means that it's something we can practice in all kinds of contexts, and we need to in order to really embed it in our lives. Fortunately, practice across lots of different aspects of life makes it much easier to access the skills associated with self-consent. And eventually using these skills just becomes our way of being in the world. Of course, the areas in which we have choices are limited for all of us, though folks with less privilege often face the greatest constraints on their choices. A way to start thinking about your relationship with self-consent is to think about the areas that you have choice in, especially those where you're agreeing things that you prefer not actually do. It may be in what you eat, it may be in the way that you move, it may be choosing who you spend time with or what you do together. It may even be the type of touch that you prefer to receive and give. Whatever area of life you're choosing, thinking about the choices that you've made in the last few weeks. Have you felt pressured by yourself or others to make choices that you didn't want to make? Have you felt resentful or angry after doing something that you agreed to? Have you missed out on something because you declined an invitation too hastily? Think about the factors that led up to you making choices that you're unhappy with in retrospect. Consider whether you'd have been able to make alternative choices, and whether you could have accepted any consequences that followed them. Paying attention to these areas is the first step in moving towards a life that centres self-consent. I teach skills for developing greater capacity for self-consent to groups of quirky queers and cultural renegades who want help having more consensual relationships with themselves. Find out more information on my website, or hear about the courses I'm running by signing up to my mailing list.